On the line, Graham Bonnet. Thanks for joining me, Graham.
Oh, it's great. It's nice to speak to you. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Now, after many years, you're coming back to Adelaide.
Yes.
How excited are we?
Oh, well, it'd be nice to see my friends because I lived in Adelaide for about 3 years, and I made a lot of friends there because my ex-wife is Adelaidean, and it was really great to play there. I played there quite a few times, and it was great playing in Australia, I must say, and it'd be good to go back.
It'll be great to welcome you back. Now, what we're doing, you're coming back as Alcatrazz, and you're celebrating 40 years since Down to Earth came out. 40 years, where's that gone?
Bloody hell. I know, it makes me feel terribly old, which of course I am. And it's amazing that I listen to that album now and it still sounds pretty good. It doesn't sound too dated. I think Rainbow was probably a turning point in my life musically. They really showed me a different way to enjoy that kind of music. And I'd never been in a band that was so-called heavy or rock or whatever. I always had a different the ideal music I was playing at the time was like R&B and pop. And I got into the heavy stuff, and it was really a change for me, and it was very rewarding in the end. So I thank Richie Blackmore for that.
Yeah, how were you approached to join the band? I
got a phone call from Roger Glover, who was working with some friends of mine, Whitesnake, and Mickey Moody was the guitar player in Whitesnake at the time, and he gave Roger Glover my number because he heard that Rainbow was looking for a new singer, and they'd auditioned, I should say, a lot of singers. I was told 80, which is a lot of people, and I was 81, and they gave me a piece to learn, which is a song called Mistreated, and that was my audition piece. I went over and sang it at them, and they sort of said, okay, the job is yours, Really? Okay. And that was it. It was very, very simple and straightforward. No weird story about it. It was just sing the song. If we like you, you're in. And that's what I had.
Because Mickey Moody was working with you at the time, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, Mickey was a good friend of mine, as you probably know. And that was the beginning of Whitesnake, I think, was with him and David Coverdale. It was such a long time ago. But I think Bernie Marsden was involved too.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, Bernie, Mickey, and obviously David. A long time ago. It's hard to remember all these people.
Were you happy with the Down to Earth product when it came out at the time?
Oh yeah, I mean it was hard work making it because we did. I've told the story so many times. I'm not sure if I've told you it. We had every song we did in probably 4 different ways: a verse, a verse and a chorus, and a middle 8, something like that. So we did a different verse, a different chorus to one song in 4 different styles, so to speak. And then Richie would come in and pick the one that he liked best, and then we'd continue to, finish the song off. So it was a long time to get it done. I can't remember how long, but it was grueling. It really was. Hours and hours, days were up till 2 a.m, sometimes singing, trying my best to sing anyway. And starting at, say, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. It was very grueling. But it turned out really well, really well. And when Roger came over, when everything was mixed and, everything was put in place, he brought it over to my place. And I lived in Maida Vale in London at the time. And my girlfriend was there, and he played it to us. And we both just went, wow, that's pretty good. I was very pleased with the end product anyway.
You might say you've got a heavy rock pedigree now. You're in Michael Schenker group after that with the fantastic Assault Attack album. How do you look back on that one?
It was a learning process for me because I'd never written words for a whole album before. And Michael, being German, he didn't have a real grasp on the English language because I asked him if he would write the words to the song. He said, no, you've got to do it. And so I just went, what do I write about? I couldn't think of anything. So I picked up a magazine or a newspaper that had an interview with Tony Basil, the dancer, and that became a song called Dancer. I read I put little pieces of the interview into the song. So that's where that song sort of began. And it gave me an idea from there on to look at newspapers and get, subjects to write about. and, you know, real life, not fantasy, swords and dragons and stuff like that, and men on mountains, like Ronnie wrote. You know, that's his thing. You know, it's sort of fantasy, fairy tale stuff. I wanted to write about the real world, you know, and that's what I've continued to do ever since.
Now, you've been performing with Michael lately with the Michael Schenker Fest. How's that? That looks like a lot of fun.
It is. It's very tiring, though. It's a 3-hour show, and there are 4 singers, and we all have our parts in the show. You know, the songs that are on the albums, each individual singer made with Michael, and we all join in for backing vocals, etc. And it's a hell of a tour we just did. I've been on the road for 5 weeks. Approximately, and I'm tired as hell, and I'm not making sense when interviews I shouldn't be doing because I'm not making any sense. It's hard for me to put a sentence together sometimes. So we got home like 2 days ago, and I have bus lag, not jet lag, but bus lag. We've been all over America, and hours on the bus. It was terribly grueling. See, I can't even speak. Grueling, but the show itself, I think, was pretty good. You know, I think very good, in fact.
It would seem from afar that you're very busy these days. Now, Alcatrazz touring, where are you taking this? And who else is in the band these days?
Okay. Well, we have Mark Bankachea. There's a name for you. Bankachea. He's playing drums. We have Joe Stump on guitar. We have Bethany Heavenstone playing bass, and Jimmy Waldo from the old Alcatrazz on keyboards. So Jimmy and I are the original members of Alcatrazz, and that's why we're changing the name, because we're basically Alcatrazz, almost Alcatrazz. But now this new version of Alcatrazz, I think, is better than the old one.
So where are you taking this, apart from, you know, coming to Australia, obviously, which we thank you for? Where else are we going with Alcatrazz, and how busy are you?
Oh, very. We've got Japan, and when we go to Japan first, then we come to Australia, and then there's tours coming up in Europe, England, you know, everywhere. And it's been a very busy year so far. We've had no time to really think about the new album, which we're trying to record right now. I'm trying to write some songs as well as doing this thing with Michael, which took up a lot of time. But the new album will be put together pretty soon. We should start recording very soon. I've got about 5 songs ready, I think, to go. So it's going to be cool.
You've been reading the newspaper to get your lyrics lately.
No, I just watch TV. But just, you know, experiences in life, you know. Every day there's something happens that's kind of heavy and weird. So that goes into my songs. I'm a bit sarcastic sometimes. I like to have the songs to have a bit of sense of humor in them as well as talking about real life, you know. I mean, Hiroshima Mon Amour is a song that Alcatrazz recorded, and that's a very serious subject. And I saw the movie of Hiroshima Mon Amour was where I got the title from. And that's serious stuff. If that ain't heavy, nothing is.
What else are you involved in these days, Graham?
Basically this. It's this and sometimes the Michael Schenker thing, but mainly Alcatrazz and getting this new record together. And getting this new record together, basically, it's a lot of work and a lot of time being spent rehearsing at the moment.
When were you last in Australia, Graham? Was that the countdown thing?
It was, which is how many years ago? 10, 12 years ago? 12 years ago, yes. And that was another grueling tour, I tell you. I was really sick on that tour. I had bronchitis like you wouldn't believe. I got through it somehow, but it was not a good time for me. Really felt ill. Now I'm finding that my voice is better than ever. I'm singing the songs that we recorded with Alcatrazz with no problems, really, you know, and some of those songs are really up there and a lot of power, and that's what I give it. I haven't lost what I used to have. I'm 71 years old now, but that voice is still the same, I'm glad to say.
We have an Alcatrazz tour Thursday, June the 6th in Adelaide, June 7th Melbourne, June 8th Sydney, and according to the paperwork I have, you're doing Down to Earth in its entirety?
Absolutely, yeah. It's something I've never done with Rainbow because Rainbow, we didn't do all the songs from Down to Earth. We did a lot of old ones that they did with Ronnie. So it's every track from Down to Earth. So it's going to be very different. It'll be very interesting. It's going to be good. In rehearsal, it sounds great. I mean, of course, the vocals are fantastic, but the band's The band sounds great. No bronchitis in this, I promise you.
Graham, absolutely great talking to you. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you early June here in Adelaide. And thanks again for your time. Stay well.
All right. You're very welcome. Thank you.